GloryDaze, the best of Morning Glory with PJ and Jim.
On Radio Nova.
Hey, welcome along, folks. GloryDaze, the PJ and Jim podcast. Thanks a million for tuning in.
Yeah, for the podcast. Yeah,
what do you do with a podcast? You don't really tune in.
No, I don't know. It's that's kind of there's lots of those old-fashioned sayings that people sort of use that they're not really relevant anymore. You know,
exactly. Yeah,
turn on and tune in, but there's no radio way. There's it's the internet, but there's no official way of saying it.
Whatever you ended up doing, thanks for button pressing or whatever you did to be here.
Thanks for
And listen, you know something? You know the way you have. Look, it's well stated. I'm not spilling the beans on anything. It's well stated that you're a broken man.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
There's very few bits of you.
Oh, that are fully operational.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have time. We'd have. God knows how long the podcast would be if we were to go through every ailment.
Oh yeah, honest to God, yeah. Between me dicky feet and me funny heels, I mean that's two problems, and we haven't even got to the ankle.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That is unusual.
Yeah,
isn't it?
And then there's the dodgy knees, the pushy shin. There's
pushy shin.
Yeah, do you ever have pushy shin?
No.
Well, if you damage your shin loads of times and then you press it and it just keeps the divot. It takes ages for the divot to come out. No.
So your shins are made of marlin?
One of them. Well, I've one pushy shin.
Oh my God.
And then I've a dicky knee on the right side, and my other knee isn't great because they have to take that apart to fix the right one.
Yeah.
And
once you get to the waterworks, all bets are off.
Yeah, it's like that casino in Las Vegas, the Bellagio. It's like the Bellagio fountain in there.
Well, I tell you something, right? I'm going to help you out, PJ Gallagher, and actually it involves, to a certain extent, it involves that area of your waterworks.
Oh no way, really?
Because to the best of my knowledge, you've never yet complained, have you, from kidney stones?
No, I haven't had stones of any kind yet.
Neither have I. I believe they're very painful.
Yeah, I heard that.
I believe they're awful things.
Yeah, I heard it's like broken glass.
Yeah.
Because there's only one way for them to come out, apparently.
Well, yeah.
So your body has to break them down, or you take tablets to break them down, and then...
Or you can get lasered and all.
Oh, can you? Oh, I thought they had to come out the front end. I thought it was like...
no, they still have to come out, but you can get them broken down a bit, so they're a bit easier,
right.
I think, is the story.
Right, yeah.
But anyway, listen, I think I may have found why... Well, this could be two things, really. One is it's probably the reason why you don't suffer from kidney stones.
Yeah.
And that is the amount of times you're interfering with yourself. The fact that, because apparently the official terminology is that masturbation can actually help you, prevent you from getting kidney stones.
Japers, Jim. I mean...
So that explains a lot, is all I'm saying.
I don't know, to be honest with you, the way my sex life has been over the last while, I'm surprised I don't have kidney boulders.
Yeah.
You know?
In fact, actually, sorry, I've slightly misrepresented this story. It's not so much the prevention, it's actually if you're a sufferer.
Oh, yeah.
And it can actually help you pass them.
Oh, it eases them.
Yeah.
Oh, right, if you're suffering.
Obviously, the other alternative is to have normal sex. Or whatever.
Yeah, but you have to have a willing participant.
I was just going to say, you'd have to find somebody willing to do it.
That's always the hard part, isn't it?
And then, but the other thing is, the reason I thought actually it was a preventative measure was because it's 3 to 4 times a week.
Oh, jeez. That's a whole big ask, isn't it? It'd be easier just to take the tablets. Like, in fairness, easier to take a tablet once a day than to have to go off and
pull the handle on your
have
stomach.
A go at you. Yeah, you grab yourself by your panhandle and get, you need plans and operations and a costume and magazines.
A costume?
Yeah, magazines.
Oh my God, you're really turning into an event.
Yeah, you have to put on your suspenders and get your whip out. To get excited and in the mood.
Oh,
you have all of these things. Because
that's the thing. I assume kidney stones isn't an age-related thing, is it?
I think it is. I don't.
So is it for older people?
Would be, yeah.
So I was just going to say that, like, for an older man, that might be absolutely no benefit whatsoever. Well, it'd be like, Jesus, if I have to deal with that, then that means I have to plan to take me Viagra.
Yeah, that's it. Imagine 100 milligrams of Viagra. Oh, what kidney stones? Yeah. Imagine overdosing.
Would it not be easier to just buy the kidney stones tablets? I'll give it a go.
You take enough Viagra and then he'd have a go with himself and shoot a hole in the ceiling. You'd be like, imagine, yeah.
I wonder, is that the nature of it? Like, I mean,
I don't think they do. They wouldn't come out like that. Jeez, imagine.
There could be. I suspect it's probably the more real story is that some sort of chemical thing or something goes on, or
must be something like that. Yeah,
whatever they're made up of.
It's not that you jiggle them around so much. They just get fired out.
It's not like going to play a game of Splatoon.
Yes, it's not a super soaker. Or out like that. Jesus, it couldn't be like that. No.
What are those things? Yes, paintball.
Paintballs.
It's not like paintball.
Imagine.
Yeah. You're out.
Yeah, but the ward, the whole kidney stone ward, the hospital, they'd be all dressed in combats and fatigues with just their willies hanging out. Because in case anybody gets injured or shot in the meantime. Yeah. That used to be an old joke.
You'll know that now if you ever walk through a ward in a hospital and all the sheets are plastic. What's this? Oh, this is the kidney stone ward. Don't ask.
I know. Isn't it Castaway that, like, from the start, there's something about bodily functions, especially with lads, that is just funny. Like, it never isn't. Like, the first thing you think is funny when you're a kid is, do you remember, like, when we were in school, the diarrhea games and all? Do you remember them? Yeah, my mama wasn't in and we did it in the bin. Diarrhea. Diarrhea. Do you remember all them?
Yeah, but I don't remember them as games.
It's really, really runny and it isn't very funny. Diarrhea. Diarrhea.
I do remember the songs.
Do you remember all of them?
I didn't know they were games.
Oh, well, I don't with songs or whatever. It's not like it wasn't a challenge.
When you said the diarrhea games, I thought you meant it was like something out of the Hunger Games. That was like, who's going to get us or who's going to end up having to clean it up?
Oh, you clean it, or it's a challenge. You go, it came out very fast when I put it in a glass. Diarrhea. Diarrhea. There was so many of them, and you just kept saying them all the time.
That's so gross.
And it was we loved all those things. Remember my friend Billy had a 10-foot willy? Do you remember that?
Showed it to the
girl next door. She thought it was a snake, and she hit it with her rake, and now it's only 5'4". Like, those things, they're just endlessly hilarious when you're a kid. I don't know why.
And actually,
still now, here's us talking about kidney stones and now lads with Viagra, you know.
But the weird thing about it is when I saw that story, right, it was your story came back, not you personally, but when you told me that story about, and funnily enough, it's very closely related, is your mate. I don't know if you named him at the time, but he went to the doctor, and as part of the, doctors do it all the time. They ask, I'm going to need a sample or whatever. He just took it completely the wrong way.
Oh yeah, oh my God, I can't. It is the most shocking story I know. And the doctor said he was, again, a very normal thing. When he went for a slash or whatever, whenever he used his willy for anything,
right,
he was getting a burning thing. It turned out to be nothing, swollen urethra again. It happens a lot. Right. But the doctor said to him, I need a sample, and he was like, Jesus, right. And he went into the Jackson and he had a wank into the cup. He thought he didn't think she meant piss. He didn't know. He said he was in there for 20 minutes having a go off himself. He said they didn't even give him a magazine or anything. He didn't know what to be thinking. He said he was panicking because there was all L1s trying to get into the toilets, and he was there. How am I supposed to do this? He says, you want to see the face of your man when he came out and gave him the thing. Your man goes, what did you do? I got a sample. Urine.
So he cracked one off into the thing.
He says it took him 20 minutes. He was in there for ages. Ages he was in there.
That's what I'm saying. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The embarrassment.
Oh, he said
I'm sure the doctor, when he came back, was like, geez, this person really has a proper issue. Yeah, it's taking him that long to have a piss.
Yeah, of course not.
He's probably thinking to himself, oh my God.
Or he probably thought the worst case scenario, he might shite into the cup. But he came out.
See, because when you said it to me first, right, before you fully explained it, that's where my head went.
Yeah.
I thought he tried to shit into a little plastic
bottle. Much worse than that. Much worse than that. And he said the doctor was just looking at him like he had two heads. He just couldn't believe it. Like, one of those faces that says, I'm 35 years doing this job and nobody has ever done that.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, to think that you have to be specific.
To be fair to your mate, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but
he's going to kill me for telling this story.
He did say, a sample, and at least it does come from that sort of general vicinity.
I know. Yeah, I can see how he got mistaken, but it's not the obvious choice. If it's a 50-50, you go for the slash.
Yeah.
If there's any doubt in your mind, you go for the slash first, and then if you're sent back in, you're sent back in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Slightly less embarrassing to go back and the doctor turned around and said, no, sorry, not urine, I need a sperm sample or something.
I know, yeah.
That's slightly less embarrassing than coming back and handing him.
At what point would you actually think you might be right when you're standing in a toilet of a GP's office in Ballyfermot? And you're thinking,
a load of pensioners trying to get in.
Yeah, but pensioners go to the toilet, and you're thinking to yourself, the least they could do was put out a few magazines. Like, what in the name of God? How do you think you're more right?
Your local GP left it on the skin mags, just lying around.
Just for
normally there's out of date
car magazines,
Reader's Digest or something.
Women's Wear,
But instead there's a 1974 penthouse.
Yeah, with all the hairy panties on it and all, and as if you'd be like you'd never. You'd be there. No way.
Yeah,
it's not a thing.
Something's gone wrong.
It's not a thing.
I misinterpreted something here.
Yeah, you would think so. You'd be like, you'd have to say, like, if there was a doubt, you'd go, well, you want me to. What do you want me to do? You have so many outs before you get to that stage.
Yeah.
So many outs,
Yeah. I wonder now in future, like, when, as a result of that story that we started with, whether or not kind of people are going to go to the doctor with kidney stones issues and end up having to.
I actually bet there's lads listening to this story now going, my God, I've done that 3 or 4 times. I actually didn't realise what was supposed to do.
That's not what he meant.
Yeah.
Oh, it all makes sense now.
Because people don't know what to do. And you're nervous. When you go to a doctor with an ailment down there, you're nervous, Yeah. You're nervous anyway. You go in, they say, give us a sample, and you spit in it. You don't know.
Yeah.
But, and then, and you never know how to describe, because you're using words you never use,
Yeah.
You're there kind of, yes, I have a very bit stinging outside of a rectum area because I don't know really. I haven't really washed things for ages.
Yeah, the old sample thing could be in those circumstances. I know. Yeah, you could get easily confused.
I stopped using toilet paper.
If you were to say I have a pain in my willy or whatever, like it's very very sore, burning sensation, and
but you wouldn't say that.
And he turned around and said, "Okay, I'm going to need a sample," and you went, "Well, sort of like, no, not a sample of the pain."
Imagine doing that.
Going to need a sample.
Can they give you a sample? Yeah, and you just reach across and pinch him on the cock. Feels just like that.
Yeah, a bit like that. Yeah. like if I was to pick up your pen and jab it. Oh, God!
Just pinch him on the knob. There you go. Feels exactly like that.
A bit like that.
Yeah. But more on the end. I got you by the balls there. Sorry, it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah. I misrepresented myself.
Yeah.
Mind you, at least there's some excuse if you make if the ailment you have is in the nether regions. There's some excuse.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I mean, imagine being the sort of gobshite that goes and has an earache. Oh, was it an earache? I think it was an earache.
I couldn't hear properly.
Yeah, it was an ear issue and dropped his trousers.
I didn't. I panicked, man. I panicked.
Yeah.
Because I thought the doctor said...
I'd say to you, Jesus, his knowledge of anatomy is very unusual.
Come here. You're making it sound like I just disrobed regardless. What happened was I went into the doctor and the doctor looked in my ear. There was a point of confusion, right? The doctor looked into my ear and said, oh yeah, we're going to have to syringe that. So, we syringed the ear.
Right.
And the wax came out. And I thought, well, that's the ear done.
Yeah.
And then the doctor walked over to his desk.
Yeah.
And he had his back to me. And with his back, he goes, now, tell me about the other problem.
Yeah.
And I was, well, I have this problem with the wall or whatever. And he kept asking me questions. So I went, right, I better get my cats down. So I pulled my trance down. And he took out this big needle thing. And I was like, holy shit. I'm not like this. Yeah. That's not going where I think it's going.
Yeah.
So, and I'm standing there with my cats and my underpants round my ankles, standing right behind him. And he puts this pad thing on top of the needle. I was like, oh my God. It'll be all over in a second. It's fine. Don't panic. It's fine. Don't be embarrassed. And then he turned around and he shook and started cleaning my ear with the spike and went, just and sent me to the toilet with a little tub for a wee. And
so you took it upon yourself to drop your trousers before being asked?
Yeah, but he was the one that brought it up. Like, he was the one that said it.
He just said, well, tell me about the other problem.
He said, we're moving on. We're moving fucking on, is what he said. And then me cats around my ankles, and the toilet was only 3 feet or 4 feet away.
So you did the full
so
penguin
I just had
shuffle.
to shuffle off. It was the most embarrassing.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And then you're like, you come out and sorry about that. I just no, it's fine, absolutely fine.
Yeah. No, we see all sorts. Never seen that,
so
but we see all sorts.
There's a good message in here somewhere. Don't be embarrassed going to the doctor with anything. Because trust me, somebody has been in there and done a lot
way
worse.
Yeah, done way worse. Yeah. Right, listen. Let's give you a few of the best bits from during the week. I'm trying to think. Was there any sort of there was a sort of a medical connection, I suppose, during the week. Because we did end up talking about baby brain, but not from the source you might expect.
Oh, yeah. I obviously have it because I can't remember what it was about.
I was just going to say.
Oh, no, sorry, I do. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
And then also, actually, funnily enough, slightly connected with medical, although I don't think they were the particularly what we were talking about, the issue of drugs did raise its head during the week as well. As I say, again, probably not of the medical variety, if you know what I mean. All will be revealed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and accidental drug taking as well.
Certainly the dangers of it.
Yeah,
certainly out there. Obviously, something very close to PJ's heart. In fact, very close to every piece of him. Tattoos came up for discussion during the week as well.
It certainly did, yeah, and regretfulness attached to some people's tattoos.
Yeah, and also, and I'd have to say, we kept this from last week, okay, because we did it, I think it could have been last Friday's show or whatever. If you're a cat lover, okay, then, or even if you're not a cat lover, actually, this applies both ways. The extraordinary names that people associate with or give to their cats, was one of the most hilarious things I'd ever heard.
Best crack things I think we've talked about.
Absolutely.
Who knew cats were so entertaining?
Exactly,
because they've got terrible personalities.
So listen, have a listen, and we'll talk to you the other side.
GloryDaze, the best of Morning Glory with PJ and Jim
on Radio Nova.
Come here, you know the old phrase "baby brain."
Indeed, I do.
You know, it's used rather disparagingly, sort of
meant to be that sort of fog.
Yeah, the
maybe
fog
that happens after somebody gives birth.
Yeah, and they always say like women get baby brain and what the whole lot and all that. I don't know if it's a myth or if it's real. I don't know, but a new study suggests that men get baby brain.
Men?
Yeah, after they have their first child, researchers in Madrid have found that first-time fathers, they lose a percentage or two of their cortical volume. In other words, your brain shrinks. A man's brain shrinks after he has his first kid. And they're not really sure why. They think it might be because it has some effect on the father to make him connect with the child.
What, so that if he reduces his mental age to that of the child,
he becomes closer to the kids?
They connect better.
Yeah, maybe that's it. So we know that women have some sort of changes, like physical brain changes as well. Right. But now it looks like men do too. So that maybe this explains so much.
Well, hang on a second though. Does it only just happen after the first one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right.
Oh, no, just reduce.
So, like, if you have a few kids, it doesn't keep shrinking and shrinking and shrinking?
No, because you have a clatter of sons. What, 6 or
3?
Oh, right, yeah.
3.
Okay, I doubled them. I thought you twins. All the time. So you have 3 sons, yeah. So you'd be right back in the negative state.
That's what I was just going to say, yeah. Which, again, as you say, would explain a lot. I do feel like I've gotten thicker over time.
Yeah.
But then again, how long am I working with you?
Oh, 6 years, 7 years?
Probably no connection.
No.
Probably no connection.
You couldn't be.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm an influence on your intelligence at all.
But you're right, it probably does explain a lot, doesn't it?
Because dads are different to regular men. They're different. Dads tell terrible jokes. Dads get to a point in their lives where they don't care about...
They give up.
They give up. They go to the spa wearing nothing but boxer shorts and a pair of Garfield slippers. And they don't care what people think of them. You know, they start walking around. The belly gets a little bigger. The head gets a little balder. The bravery gets a little bit taller, you know.
I know what you're saying.
So you start to... Maybe
so that explains why... Actually, would explain the phenomenon of dad jokes.
Yeah, it does. Like, because dad jokes are the stupidest jokes there is. You know. Like, something has to go on in your brain to think they're funny.
It would also explain why I find them hilarious.
You see? Evidence points the right direction. It really does. You know, it also explains why your dad can sit there and probably not say a single thing for days on end. You know those dads?
I mean, what level of shrinkage are we talking here?
We don't know.
Do they give a guideline?
No, they don't tell you how much. Maybe it's different in every man.
Yeah.
You know?
Are we talking from normal sized brain down to like pea brain? Are we talking full, you know?
Yeah. That's
fairly dramatic.
Because a lot of dads, their brain just turns off at a certain time of the day.
Yeah.
You know, my elf used to come home and sit down, and I don't know where he went. He wasn't in his body. He was just sitting there with his hand on his forehead.
It would sort of explain that as well. The whole idea that as to why dads need their, places like their potting shed, or the whatever. It's like they immediately,
a retreat.
They go to a simpler life. A simpler place. I don't have the brain capacity to deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to a man cave.
It's
somewhere.
why your dad spends an hour and a half doing a poo. He's just in there, he's finding a place where he doesn't have to think. Whereas brain can just disappear into the
He just
ether.
lets his body do its own thing.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to think about anything.
Exactly, yeah. That's dads are different. They are different, you know. Yeah. And that's why you meet people.
It is kind of unusual now. I know it's more, you know, things are changing now. Things are probably a bit more equal now when it comes to parenting duties and responsibilities.
Yeah, hopefully it's getting there.
Hopefully, yeah. And but back in the day, it would probably explain why mothers became unbelievably busy, and dads became just a little bit out of it.
Sure. My dad, ma brought me back from the hospital, and then my dad went to the pub. I don't know. He came back when I was 8, and he was like, "Your man's after getting huge." Yeah. And she was like, "Oh no." He was upstairs all the time. By the way, he never moved out. You know, because we grew up at the time where your dad was vaguely aware he was living with little people.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, he saw them more as, you know, they were more sort of functional, really. Like for changing the stations on the television or finding his glasses when he put them down. You know what I mean? They fulfilled kind of things. They were like sort of like nicely treated servants. Yeah, you were really one step lower than the dog. He'd love the dog, but you were more like a sort of trained hamster.
It's the very best of Morning Glory with PJ and Jim
on Radio Nova.
As you know, there is no greater lover of dogs than the great PJ Gallagher. He campaigns on their behalf, charities, all that, has a couple himself, has had them all his life.
Yeah.
Loves dogs. Not the biggest fan of cats, really, are you?
Well, I think they're all right. You know, like I wouldn't be at war with a cat. You know,
you don't actively dislike them.
No, there's one cat I don't like.
They can't be trusted. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You know, like I suppose when it comes to, I don't know, personality traits, you're a bit like an old dog. You know, you're loyal and you're hardworking and you turn up, you're regular, you know where to go to the toilet and you've got quite dog-like attributes.
Wow, you really know how to compliment a guy.
Yeah, you're able to look after.
He can wipe himself and everything. He's very good.
Yeah, and you're like a good friend and pal. And I think I'm more like a cat. You know, I kind of suit myself most of the time, and eat whenever I feel like it, and if I feel like pissing on the couch, that's going to happen, you know. It's just like, whatever. Life is life. Live and let live, you know.
Wow.
So, I get more disappointed in company than you would, for instance, you know.
Right. And the other thing that we've noticed in relation to cats and dogs is the fact that dogs traditionally have names like, you know, Rex and Fido and King and
Jim and, things like that. They have all these names that... You know, they're much more normal names. I know a guy who has a pit bull called Sharon, which I think is one of the best names I've ever heard for a dog. But I never realised how extraordinary cat names can be. I never until this morning. And the kennel club opposite for cats, the grand cat people of the world, whatever they call themselves, you know.
They probably do call themselves that. If they're into cats, they probably do call themselves the grand cat people of the world.
Well, the governing council of the Cat Fancy of Ireland is one of them, you know. And they have crazy names for cats. And there's a list of actual registered names here from Cat Club, you know.
So people have...
So instead of Rex, for instance, Mr. Tiddy Bomb Bombs is the name of a cat. A real name of a cat, Mr. Tiddy Bomb Bombs.
Tiddy Bomb Bombs.
Yeah, Mr. Tiddy Bomb Bombs.
So somebody in their garden or whatever is shouting, Mr. Tiddy Bomb Bombs.
Yeah, Mr. Tiddy Bomb Bombs, stop killing the robin, Mr. Tiddy Bomb Bombs. Yeah.
Wow.
Winky Woozerton is another fella.
Is it?
Yeah,
Winky Woozerton.
Winky Woozerton. Do you know what these are like? They're like drag queen names. We could have a game. Drag queen or cat. And you'd be able to pick which one is which. Prince Humperdinck, he's doing well, like a fine 8-year-old Russian, whatever.
Prince Humperdinck.
Yeah. The next one is a bit weird. Butt Nugget. I don't know why that comes for, or why you do that, or what's wrong with that cat. But I think that, maybe he's a very smelly cat.
I'm assuming cat people tend not to call their cats. I suppose it's not like a dog where it comes back to you or anything. They obviously go off and they do their own thing.
Yeah,
because nobody's out on the street shouting, Butt Nugget! Butt Nugget!
Yeah. And nobody has a guard cat either. Like if a burglar gets into your gaff, you're going to go, Butt Nugget, get him! Attack! It's not a thing. Wow. Admiral Snuggles, Admiral Pancake, a lot of admirals.
Right.
Alf Schnitzelberg, Grandma Winkles, Phoebe Pickle Spam.
Alf
Schnitzelberg. Yeah, Schnitzelberg.
That's a name, a registered name for a cat.
Yeah, that's a registered name for a cat, yeah.
God, I tell you, I have a newfound respect for cat
It's
people dreaming this stuff up.
Lord Meow Mix. Meowser. Meowser sounds like a lad down the pub.
Yeah.
Hey, Meowser, you owe me around. You're not going home yet, Meowser. That has a bit of that off it. Chairman Meow, which is kind of obvious. But then there's Tuna Casserole. Fuck. Where do you get this, lad?
Tuna Casserole.
Casserole, yeah. These are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Wait till you get a mouthful of this, lad, right? Throckmorton P. Ruddigore. Throckmorton P. Ruddigore. What a name!
He'd want to be you'd have to be a leopard to keep that name.
I hope he's one of those skinless cats. You know them skin. Oh no, forless and skinless cat. That's a skeleton.
Yeah, that's a messy set of fellas. One of those furless ones.
Furless lads, you know.
Look at the state here. I'll have you know that's Throckmorton P. Ruddigore.
Have a bit of respect. When Throckmorton P. Ruddigore comes in, he sounds like a lad who'd be devastated the Queen just died.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Callista Flock Whiskers, Lieutenant Tickles, Farrah Pausset, Halle Burry, and Bing Clausby, which for some reason has a great ring to it.
Wow.
Yeah, there's amazing names. It just seems you can have any kind of ridiculous name you want for a good cat, you know?
And are these, is it like horses where, like, you know, they give them, you know, Paddy the Plasterer type names or whatever, but their actual sort of names around a yard are different or something, is it?
I don't know if they're like horses now. You wouldn't be riding a cat.
I meant from purely a naming point of view. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Because, I mean, in fairness...
I was thinking, imagine the size of the jockey.
In fairness, if you have to get Throckmorton P. Ruddigore in for his whiskers or whatever, it's going to be... You know what I mean?
It does actually sound like a really pompous horse race, doesn't it?
Yeah,
That's Throckmorton P. Ruddigore coming on Lord Meow Mix, Prince Humperdinck coming up the inside.
Yeah. But here comes Butt Nugget.
Yeah, and it's Mr. Titty Bomb Bombs for the win.
GloryDaze, the best of Morning Glory with PJ and Jim.
On Radio Nova.
My ma always said the only people that have tattoos are madmen and hooers, she said. That's what she always said.
Wow.
And I remember going to her, excuse me, and then I was like, actually I do fit into one of them.
Depending.
And I'm not a madman. And then it sort of turned then that it wasn't madmen and that it was like vegans and all ended up with like...
What?
Well, you know the way... People who are heavily tattooed now with beards and no socks, they walk around and you can sort of say, here's another...
Because they've had Newgrange tattooed on them, or a sunrise from something.
Yeah, or an anchor with tofu on it or something. I don't know, but there's all of that going around. And a lot of people now, it's sort of come again. Now they're regretting having tattoos. You know, people are coming out with the stories. Mel C from the Spice Girls, for example, has just said...
Probably doesn't necessarily fall into the rock legend category.
Not really.
But,
more the tofu tattoo sort of thing. But she's come out and she said that she really, really regrets ever having any of her tattoos. She hates them.
God, I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, and she said when she was getting them first, she said to Madonna, of all people, she goes to Madonna, I'm getting a tattoo and all, and Madonna was, don't do that. Jeepers. Madonna gave her the whole, think about when you're older. You won't like it. She gave her all of that.
Madonna did?
Madonna, yeah. Madonna of all people.
Madonna was giving, like, so-called sensible advice to Mel C.
Yeah, she was giving, which I think is gas, because, like, we all reach an age where you need to behave yourself a little bit when it comes to slinging off your clothes. And I was
just going to say, like, yeah.
Yeah, a tattoo, like,
just seems very unusual. Well, for a start, I'm amazed Madonna doesn't have a tattoo.
Me too, yeah. Always would have assumed.
She's anti-tat.
She's anti-tat, yeah, and Mel C totally regrets. I never understand that.
Does Mel C say why?
No, she just says...
Like, it's hardly as though she's going to... because it definitely stopped my career advancing.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I had hoped to work in the bank, and just that never happened for me.
Yeah, I never got a job in the bank because of me tattoos. It's never because of your tattoos, unless they're on your face. You know, that's different. And you know something? If someone has a tattoo on their face... that's someone you want to be around. That's a guy who's not afraid of commitment. That man is not afraid of commitment. Yeah. If someone comes down, if your daughter out there...
He goes for it.
Yeah, if your daughter's going out with a lad with a tattooed face, you should say, thank God, that lad is committed.
And why do they keep saying about you'll regret it when the old...
I never understand
The principle behind this is the saggy skin, is it? It looks great now when you're... But what about if you were never lean and muscular when you got it in the first place?
Yeah, like I got tattooed last week and my trousers are open now, man. I can't. They're now. I can't close the top button because I've put on so much weight lately.
Yeah.
And so I don't care. And it's like, you're going to look terrible.
If you got it tattooed last week, right?
Yeah.
Then I assume that argument about you'll regret it when you're older goes out the window. You're already older.
I'm already older. Best case scenario, I'm half dead. Best case scenario, I'm half dead.
So it's a bit late for, the regret.
Yeah, and as if that's going to be something you regret. Imagine lying there, you're 96 years old, on your deathbed, your hips are rattling, your heart beats once every couple of days, your only one lung fills up with air, you've a machine to help you go to the toilet, and they'll be saying to you, is there anything you change? Yeah, I'd love to get the Popeye tattoo taken off me arse.
It's the very best of Morning Glory with PJ and Jim.
On Radio Nova.
Lawbreakers,
now,
yeah. I'm okay. We have admitted in the past, because we did sort of discuss something similar to this in the past, where we admitted that there are laws that not just you and I break.
Everybody.
Exactly, because sometimes, we actually discovered laws we didn't even know were laws.
Yeah, that's true. And we did this whole story about the laws that everybody breaks, like simple things like you might, go a few kilometres over the speed limit, or
by accident before you realise, and then slow down again to an appropriate speed.
Yes, exactly. And I can't even remember most of them, but there was some stuff.
But there was definitely some that, like, for example, remember the stuff about eating and drinking in your car?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even know that was a law.
Neither did I.
When I say drinking, I don't mean alcohol.
Yeah.
Even a bottle of water.
Yeah, he's not there holding a bottle of champagne after the show as he drives home every day. It's not that sort of stuff.
But it turns out there was a law, wasn't there? There was about eating and drinking in your car.
You can't be eating an ill energy bar or whatever. But there's loads of stuff, and we were like, oh yeah, well, we all break those laws. But the same story is after coming up this morning, and it's literally cast in exactly the same light, but written by someone else.
Right.
And they're saying, those laws everybody breaks. And to be honest, I don't break most of these laws.
No way.
Yeah, like cycling on the pavement. Well, you'd be doing well now to get Jim McCabe on a bike.
That's I'm never going to have to worry about that.
Short of a tsunami hitting Wicklow.
What am I do to somebody on a bike cycling on a pavement? Man, that could be involved in a little bit of law breaking, but less said about that the better.
Less said about that the better. And then there's like pocketing the change when they give you too much back. I never do that. I'm always afraid the person who's working there is going to, oh, Jim, look at the face on you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, look at him. Oh, you look at him.
I don't know what you're saying. I just, if I don't notice until I'm already down the road.
Look at old Jimmy Ten Fingers over there.
Have you never done that?
Not intentionally, no.
I suppose it depends on the level it is.
I've brought it back to be. I'm always afraid people are going to get it docked out of their wages or something.
Look at you, you big communist.
I do. I feel too guilty. I feel too guilty. Then there's
the best one of all is the moment. The real moment is right. Is not so much if they kind of give you too much and you sort of pocket it without thinking or whatever. It's when they go, did you give me a 20 or a 50? That's where your moral compass changes. That's where your moral compass comes in.
It is.
That's where you're faced with that dilemma. That's like being on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah.
And you've got that 50-50 question. Now, which way do I?
Jeepers.
This could decide my future here.
Yeah,
this could be heaven or hell for me. Do I say it was a 50 when I know it was a 20?
No, it was a 500. You know those notes no one's even seen before.
You sure?
Yeah, 500.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
Big purple thing, yeah. Size of a bedsheet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you mean, though.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of like, who's giving you the money? Is it an insurance company, for instance?
If it's an insurance company, oh my God,
or is it a bookie? Or is it?
There's certain places.
Or is it a young lad trying to make a day's?
Exactly. Yeah.
I suppose there is different levels of theft. When you think about it that way. Yeah.
Can't believe we said that out loud.
Now that I think of it,
there's different levels of theft.
now that I think of it, I
Which
do
one are you
see
talking about, Gard?
I'm a bit of a Zorro or a Zorro. He's not a thief. Robin Hood, that's the lad in tights. Except I'm just robbing from the rich to give to myself. Then there's parking on double yellow lines. I never do that. Not because I'm afraid of causing trouble. I'm just afraid of getting caught, to be honest, more than anything else.
And it does annoy me. That does. Because that happens a lot in round with people. All these day trippers, you dubs and all.
Yeah.
Coming up and
Parking on yellow
going
line.
to go for their walks or whatever.
Jim doesn't even like when you park legally there. He'd be out throwing out the traffic cones, though.
It was up to me. I'd block the place off anyway, and I'd have a residence only kind of permit.
Jim's
even
going,
to get
I
in.
can't believe it. People paying the motor tax and they think they can park in legal spaces in my town. And then taking illegal drugs. He has it like this list, like everyone does.
He's suggesting that everybody breaks that
we
rule.
all do it. I certainly do not take illegal drugs.
No, nor I.
Not at all.
And to be honest with you, look, it's not being holier than thou.
No.
I have to confess, I'd be afraid.
Me too.
I'm afraid of it.
Have you ever had a marijuana cigarette? I ate 3 hash cookies by accident.
Depends on who's listening to this.
Yeah, I ate 3 hash cookies by accident, right?
Right.
Because I called up to a friend who sounds like this, and now you know who it is.
Oh, right.
He said, I'm just going to have a shower, horse. And I thought they were just biscuits left on the table.
Right.
And I ate the 3 of them. And he comes back and goes, what? You didn't eat all of them. I said, I did, yeah. He said, Jesus, horse, you're only supposed to have half one. I said, I can't, why? He said, damn, that's hashish. I'd have a whole one, but I'm out of my mind all the time. My God. I thought I was going to cry for a month after it.
Really? What effect did it have on you?
I couldn't say a word. I got all paranoid.
So you didn't get happy off it?
No, it ruined me night.
Yeah.
I was sitting there mute. Yeah. And he was introducing me to all his friends. And I was there, everybody hates me. Everybody hates me. I'm going to have a heart attack. I need a drink of water. Help me.
You do realise that's the complete opposite of the effect that cannabis is supposed to have.
Oh my!
Like they're talking about trying to legalise it on the basis of of the calming and the feel good effect.
I'd rather have the disease, Jim. That stuff drove me out of my mind.
GloryDaze, the best of Morning Glory with PJ and Jim
on Radio Nova.
Barry's just been on. Made a very good point there when you were talking about the illegal drugs.
Yeah.
And apparently whoever it was that wrote that article claiming that, it's a law that everybody breaks.
Everybody breaks.
Not everybody. Anyway, Barry said it's a really good job actually that you never did get onto illegal drugs.
Yeah, isn't
like
it?
you're sort of bad enough as you are.
I am bad enough as I am.
Most people think you're off your head anyway.
I know,
Just as part of, from the moment you wake up.
Tell me about it. And the amount of prescription drugs I need just to do that.
So illegal drugs, thankfully, not something that you've ever indulged in.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Well, not intentionally anyway.
I never understood it anyway. I don't even like dancing. Imagine taking something that gives you an urge to do something you hate.
Why dancing?
I just went into the ecstasy thing there.
Oh.
And I also don't like snorting anything off a toilet. It's just not, it just doesn't...
Yeah.
I'd prefer to go for a walk with the dog,
Well, it's a fair point, actually, yeah. And the other thing about it is, isn't there some that make you hungry, give you the munchies?
Oh, God.
And you certainly don't need any encouragement in that regard.
That's the last thing I need.
Yeah,
Imagine, oh, jeepers, how do you even ask for a packet of biscuits after?
But that's what I'm saying, you have boxes of chocolates for your dinner sometimes. The last thing you want is anything giving you the urge.
Jeez, maybe I will get into the heroin and be cheaper.
GloryDaze, the best of Morning Glory with PJ and Jim
on Radio Nova.
So there you go, some of the best bits from during the week, and of course add that to the wonderful medical advice we gave you at the very start of this podcast.
You should probably just delete this podcast and tell no one about it. Actually, it's a bit of a shame.
I think, to be perfectly honest with you, those two things could marry very well together.
Maybe, yeah.
Listening to the best bits from the show while indulging in relieving yourself of kidney stones.
That's true. And while we were talking about that, I also don't think cats have bad personalities. I got upset there. I was upset because I was embarrassed.
To be honest with you, I'm not sure that there'll be many cats listening to this, to be perfectly honest with you.
No, but there'll be cat owners, and cat owners, they're kind of like, what are they like? Gangsters.
Why is that? What is that about? The idea of the cat woman,
Yeah.
And I don't mean the leather-clad Halle Berry version.
Oh, I know what you mean, yeah.
I mean the person, the cat lady. That was it. The cat
with
lady.
the 50 cats, yeah.
Exactly. And she's always held up as a complete, the weirdo.
Yeah.
The sort of strange person on the street, or the, mad and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas, somebody has a load of dogs and they're seen as like, an animal lover and a celebrant of...
Yeah, because
kind of,
your dog will look after... If you die and you have 50 cats, you're going to be a skeleton in a half an hour. That's why. You're going to be a skeleton in a half an hour. You know, they're just going to be like, oh, well...
Because the weird thing about it is, the way we always say cats have no loyalty.
Yeah, they have no loyalty.
I mean, John's cat left him for his landlord.
They do it all the time.
Yeah.
There's someone had it on Twitter last week. Like, they're saying, lost cat posters everywhere. Cats don't get lost.
Yeah.
They leave people.
Yeah,
they move on with their
bored
lives.
of you.
Yeah, you get dumped by your cat.
Yeah, they're literally saying, it's not me, it's you.
Yeah.
And they move on.
Your food is shit. Your house smells. I don't like it.
So surely the cat lady should be held up as a, should be treasured, as in, like, all of those cats have stayed with her. She's obviously very special.
That's one way of looking at it, I suppose. But it's definitely not something you're going to see in a movie very soon.
No, that's very true as well. Yeah. And you're never going to become a cat person. Did you ever have a cat?
I know, I'd like to have a cat, but my dogs would eat it. Like, I would like to have a cat. Yeah.
God,
but the dogs would eat it.
Mind you, to be honest with you, now that I think about it, a cat would be your perfect companion.
Yeah.
Because it would literally not want you to do anything other than just feed it.
Yeah, I'm like a cat.
Yeah.
I've no time for people, but I'll eat with anyone. And I'll go to the toilet where I like.
On that note.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
On that note, I'm going to Jim's litter box.
You've been listening to GloryDaze, the best of Radio Nova's Morning Glory with PJ and Jim. Catch the show live weekdays 6 to 10 on FM, online at nova.ie, or on the Nova app.